Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and welcome to the Boxhard Podcast.
Hello, everyone. This is Mikey Garcia.
Yo, it's your boy, the odd guy himself, Malik King Scott.
Hi, I'm Charlie Edwards.
This is Fast Eddie Chambers, and you're listening to the Boxhard Podcast with my main man, Joey Kauffman.
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 161 of the Boxhard Podcast. This is also known as the International Boxing Podcast, the most international boxing podcast out there. This podcast is listened to in every continent all over the world. That is a thing, believe you me. But I am joined this week by the man, the myth, the legend. He's back. It's Mr. Ayaz Sumra. Ayaz, we've missed you. All the listeners have been wondering where you are. You're back in town. How are you?
Yes, I'm back in town. Yes, I'm good to be back, Joey. And how are you as well?
Very good, my friend. Very good as always. It's great to have you back. Let's dive straight into the review part of the show. A lot to go over here. Let's start in the Victoria Warehouse in Manchester, Lancashire, United Kingdom. This bill pretty much went under the radar, I guess. A few fights to mention here. I'm going to start with Hosea Burton. He moved to 23 professional wins. He's got that one loss, of course, to Frank Buglioni. A points win over 6 rounds against Arturs Kulkilauskas, who's got a record of 18 and 38 now with 7 draws, obviously a journeyman there. Also on this bill, we saw Savannah Marshall move to 5-0. A TKO in the second round there against Claudia Vi, who was 3-25 with 1 draw going in. Vi was also down in the first round, but then ultimately down and out, if you like, in the second. The TKO, like I say, for Savannah Marshall, now 5-0. Also on the bill, and this is a bit of a strange fight here, Brian the Lion Rose returned to the ring. I think he'd been out the ring for about a year and a half. He's got a fight lined up. He takes on Conrad Cummins later on in the year. I think it's in about 4 weeks' time, something like that. Could be wrong, could be sooner than that. And basically, he wanted a little keep busy fight, or like a kind of, like a fight to kind of warm him back into things before he takes on Conrad Cummins in what is set to be a decent fight. So he took on journeyman Alistair Warren, who's 11-20 with 4 draws. Obviously, Brian Rose 29-5 with 1 draw. It was a 6-rounder, and Brian Rose won on points, but it was super duper close, and I think he got cut on the bridge of his nose once again. So not good signs really for Brian Rose to be pretty lucky to win that fight there. So not very impressed with that. I think Conrad Cummins has probably got that one in the bag already. It's a real shame to see Brian Rose regressed this much in his career, but he did get win number 30. That's absolutely excellent for him. Moving out now to the Forum in Inglewood, California, USA. I haven't really been paying attention to this Contender Series 5 kind of thing, but I believe the final was between Shane Mosley Jr., who was 11-2, and he took on Brandon Adams, who was 20-2. Anyway, Brandon Adams managed to win unanimously over 10 rounds, so Shane Mosley Jr., that's his 3rd loss now in 14 fights. Not an ideal start to your career, not like his father. Moving out now to the Arena Gliwice, which was in Poland. We've got 2 fights to mention here, actually. We've got Maciej Sulecki, former opponent of Daniel Jacobs, 26-1. He took on Jean-Michel Hamilcaro, former opponent of Josh Kelly. His record going into this was 26-9 with 3 draws. Sulecki actually knocked him out in 2 rounds, which was quicker than Josh Kelly. So I was quite surprised with that, to be honest. I don't think Sulecki's a big puncher, so to get him out of there quicker than Josh Kelly did, I think is quite impressive. Also on this bill, we had Artur Szpilka, 21-3. He took on Mariusz Wach, 33-3. A real clash of the titans here in Poland. The heavyweight scene over there is obviously very popular, and this was a mega fight, really, for the Polish fans, but Artur Szpilka emerged victorious. A split decision, though, over 10 rounds. Very much a close fight, is what I'm led to believe. Artur Szpilka, a friend of the show, I'm happy for him. 22-3 there, and Mariusz Wach, 33-4. Very, very tough guy. That one was always going the distance, in my opinion. Moving out now to Puerto Rico at the Coliseo Mario Morales. We had Felix Verdejo. He took on Yardley Cruz. It was a KO in the second round for Felix Verdejo. He's now 24-1. Yardley Cruz now 24-12. Also moving out now to the Manchester Arena. I've got here pretty quickly, actually. I'm going to start with Dmitro Mitrofanov, who had a record of 2-0 going in. He took on Gino Cantas, who was 5-2. Now, Mitranov is like this, this very good amateur. He was an amateur standout. I'm not sure if he went to the Olympics or not, but he's very much in that kind of Aegis Klimas boxing umbrella. He's under that umbrella. Obviously, Aegis deals with Alexander Usyk and also Vasyl Lomachenko, so he's part of their team kind of thing. I think they all train together. Well, basically, Mitrofanov came out in the first round and got knocked down within 15 seconds of the first round, so a nightmare start, especially in a 4-rounder. Credit to Gino Cantas, he really did come to fight, and he actually earned a draw. It was a points, it went to points after 4 rounds, and it was a draw, like I say. So a 10-8 round there in the first round for Gino Cantas, and then Dmitro Mitrofanov, I think, won probably the next 2 rounds, something like that. So it would have been even going into the last round, something like that. And then the referee, who was actually judging it, gave a 10-10 round, so it ended up being a draw. So I'm actually pleased there for Gino. So that really is something to mention there. We also saw Sam Hyde 13-0 with 1 draw. He took on Richard Riakporhe, who had a record of 7-0. Now, Riakporhe is actually a guy who's training with or managed by Dillian Whyte. He's got some kind of involvement with Dillian Whyte. Well, anyway, he stepped up in class. And the thing about Riakporhe, I actually thought he'd win by knockout, because when you look at his resume, I think it was 7-0 with 6 knockouts. And he's actually stopped guys that were journeymen, but guys that don't often get stopped. So I expected him to win this by knockout, and he did. It was an 8th round TKO, but not really the kind of knockout that I don't think anyone expected. Sam Hyde was winning the fight, and out of nowhere, he gets caught with a shot, and then his eye swells up so disgustingly. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Kevin Mitchell with Jorge Linares. A lot of people even mentioning Hassan Rahman, actually. His eye swelled up so quickly, and in the end, Joe Gallagher actually had to throw the towel in. So a very sad way there to lose your O. And it was also for a strap. The vacant WBA Intercontinental Cruiserweight title was on the line, so Riakporhe picks up that belt now. Despite losing the fight on cards, like I say, the eye was so bad that he couldn't continue, so a gift win there for Riakporhe. Also on the bill, we had David Allen, 15-4 with 2 draws. He stepped in against Ariel Bracamonte, who was 8-1. Now, this fight here, I'm gonna kind of go in pretty hard here. The first 2 rounds I gave to Bracamonte. He was too active for Dave Allen. He didn't seem like he had much power, to be honest, and a lot of his punches were arm punches. He didn't seem to like being hit by Dave Allen, though. Every single time Allen would hit him, he didn't disguise it well. And Eddie Hearn actually said that he'd give, this was before the fight, he said he'd give Dave Allen one more of this kind of fight against this level of fighter and then push on for a big one. And I'm not quite sure that's a good idea. I don't know what they're going to do with Dave Allen, because it was a very tough fight. I think Dave Allen got exposed a little bit in the 3rd round. It was a closer round, but one that I felt was going Bracamonte's way. And again, he walked into a big shot and he found himself almost stopped, because he walked into one, Dave Allen kind of jumped all over him. He almost got stopped there, and it was still a close round, to be honest. But I think Allen would probably end up getting the round on the scorecards. Allen looked absolutely exhausted, and this is the 3rd round here. He was being hit all too often. I don't think it was really his fitness, because how can he be gassing after 3 rounds? He was just being hit so much. In the 4th round, Bracamonte was unloading a big combination on Allen when Allen actually came back with a big shot himself and hurt Bracamonte. Now, Bracamonte really could not take Allen's power, like I say, and he actually seemed to have more to his game than Dave Allen. Obviously, we all know that Dave Allen is tough as hell, and that's probably what gets him many of these wins. Not actually his ability, but the toughness and the fact that he can just kind of break your heart and wear you down over the course of a fight. Now, in the 5th round, to be honest, it was a very close round. I think both men were totally spent at that point. The conditioning of Bracamonte was absolutely poor. He showed up very fleshy, and Dave Allen, I actually expected better from him in terms of his gas tank. Now, as the rounds went on, Bracamonte didn't really have the experience. I think he hadn't really gone past 4 rounds, something like that. And yeah, it was kind of turning into a Dave Allen type of fight. Although I think Bracamonte wanted it more than Dave Allen, his condition was so bad that it was impossible really for him to win any rounds in the latter part of the fight. It ended up going into deep water, and like I say, Allen was growing in confidence. Now in the 7th round, Bracamonte got hit with a lovely chopping right hand by Allen, which actually cut Bracamonte on the bridge of his nose, and from that point onwards I think Bracamonte felt sorry for himself, and it spurred Allen on even more. But it was too tough of a fight for my liking. I think Lenroy Thomas, if he was in the other corner against Dave Allen, he would have shut him out on points and got the win. But Dave Allen did end up getting the win, but for me, he certainly put miles on his clock there, and it wasn't very impressive whatsoever. He's come out with the excuses about, he wasn't in fighting shape. I know that he was supposed to be fighting 3 times, including that night there, 3 times before the end of the year. Now, I think after that performance, he's come out and said he doesn't want to fight till 2019. So, he's been very active this year, so I'm not quite sure what's the problem. He's blamed himself for it once again. But, a very, very poor fight, in my opinion. A very poor display. It actually made for a decent-ish fight, but a very poor display from Dave Allen, who was expected to blow his man away within about 3 rounds. What did you make of his performance, Ayaz?
I think Dave Allen, with his performance, I think he should have done much better. Obviously, he was very disappointed with himself, but obviously, Dave Allen, he's still fighting on pay-per-view fights. I mean, he's going to be, they said he may be fighting the Kell Brook undercard.
Yeah, I don't think he's on that anymore now.
Oh, he's not on that anymore. Next, we'll see where he fights next. I like Dave Allen, and I think he'll do much better in his next fight.
Yeah, we do like Dave Allen on this show. I do wish him all the very best, but I've got to keep it honest here. His record now, 16-4 with 2 draws, and Bracamonte 8-2. Moving up the bill once again, we saw Josh Kelly 7-0. He took on Walter Castillo, who went into the bout with a record of 13-2. Of his 2 losses, he'd never been stopped. Josh Kelly looked absolutely brilliant. I know that he's a level above this guy, and it wasn't the fight that we wanted to see, but still, he did what he had to do. It was a punch-perfect performance. The future that Josh Kelly has in boxing is kind of hard to picture, really, because the sky is truly the limit for him. I think he's got it all, and he's very, very humble. I've got a lot of love for the pretty boy, to be honest. And like I say, after the fight, they announced straight away in the post-fight interview he'd be taking on David Avanesian, a former belt holder. I think it was like an interim or a regular title at the time. So not a bad fighter at all, David Avanesian. I really like that fight. I think Avanesian's a lot better than people give him credit for, even though I think lately, the last kind of year or so, he's had pretty bad luck in the ring, and he hasn't looked that great. But the win over Shane Mosley and a few fights before that, I think he was really impressing me. But yeah, it's a very big step up, and I really do like that fight there. David Avanesian, a man that's been on the show before, so really looking forward to that one. But yeah, a first round knockout for Josh Kelly, a TKO in that first round. He looked absolutely amazing, like I say, and he becomes the first man to stop Castillo. Moving up the bill once again, we saw Ricky Burns 42-7 with 1 draw take on Scott Cardle 23-2 with 1 draw. Now, like we knew, Cardle was getting ready to take on Joe Cordina. That fight fell through. Ricky Burns was supposed to be fighting the week after. He was actually supposed to be fighting this weekend, but he decided to fight the week before that because I don't think they had an opponent sorted for him or anything like that. So we all picked Burns to win on points. He did manage to get the knockout, though, which I felt was quite surprising. Scott Cardle just couldn't get out of the way of Burns' right hand, and the punch that finished things was that right hand. I mean, there are levels to this game, obviously, and Ricky Burns showed that he's many levels above Cardle, but to be honest, where does Cardle go from here? I think it's a very, very tough place that he's found himself in, and although Burns looked good, we have to remember it was only against Scott Cardle, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. I mean, Cardle is British level, and although Burns is past his best, he's still above British level. But credit to him, like I say, for getting the knockout, because I saw it as a pretty close-ish fight on paper, which it really didn't look like that after about the first 30 seconds. So Yeah, a little bit saddened really for Scott Cardle, I has, because he obviously come up against Lewis Ritson, he got blown away. He showed a lot of heart in that fight, but he got blown away, and now he gets blown away by Ricky Burns, who I don't think's had a stoppage win for quite a while, if I'm not mistaken. So some people saying he needs to retire, but it's just a real shame, because obviously, he was a decent amateur. He turned pro. He won the British title. He did his thing, but he's just really struggled lately, and I wouldn't imagine that he's made a ton out of boxing in terms of, money and stuff like that. So what does he do? Does he retire and get a day job? What does he do? I think he's found himself in a very hard place.
I mean, he's in his last fight, he lost, obviously, Ricky Burns. Well done to Ricky Burns. I mean, there is a couple of good fights. I mean, domestic level, I think he should be fighting that. I don't think he should retire. I think he'll come again as well. Cordina would be a good fight for him. I think that's a step up for Cordina, and I think it'll be good. It'll be like, obviously, I know he'll be the underdog, but I think it'll be a very good fight for Cardle.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, all the very best to Scotty Cardle. Moving up the bill once again, we saw Anthony Crolla take on Daud Yordan. Now, Daud Yordan went into the fight with a record of 38-3. Anthony Crolla 33-6 with 3 draws. Not the prettiest fight at all. It never really is with Anthony Crolla when you think about it. I mean, the one thing that Crolla has got loads of is self-belief, the determination, and of course the perseverance. Crolla seemed to get hurt a few times in my opinion, but he disguised it well to the body and to the head. And I think Crolla did well as usual with his body shots. I think, late on in his career, he's turned into a brilliant body puncher. And I think that Crolla won the majority of the rounds without actually dominating a single round, which is a weird thing when you think about it. It was another good win for him, but once again, a fight where you'd have to say it does put miles on your clock. I think, it was a bit of a war at times. And like I say, every round was competitive, but he did win, and that was quite clear to see. There's not really much else to mention on that fight. But moving on to the main event now, Alexander Usyk, 15-0, put his IBF, WBA, WBC and WBO World Cruiserweight titles on the line against our very own Tony Bellew, 30-2 with 1 draw. Obviously, the fight ended in a brutal knockout in the 8th round. Alexander Usyk remains undefeated and remains the champion of all 4 major sanctioning bodies at Cruiserweight. But the fight itself, I mean, in the first round, there were no risks taken by Usyk. I mean, he was bouncing around on his toes, but he wasn't really letting his hands go at all. And Bellew won that round purely because he let his shots go more. There were 1 or 2 decent-looking shots, but nothing much else. I felt that Bellew certainly got the first round, even though some people, I think, in the commentary team, I think it was Froch gave it a 10-10. I thought that was just quite bizarre. I mean, he does like a 10-10, but even still. In the second round, again, for me, another Bellew round. I think Usyk looked a little bit frustrated. Bellew was talking to him in there. Usyk was just walking forward and not cutting off the ring. Was giving Bellew too much space, really. The third round, another round for Bellew for me. I was actually shocked by what I was seeing from Usyk. Usyk started well in that round, but Tony finished well. And for me, he won that round once again. Now, it sounds crazy because Usyk has been a man that has fought in his opponent's backyard time and time again, especially lately, but somehow it seemed like perhaps the occasion was getting to him. That's what I've wrote here, but obviously it seemed like it was all part of a game plan where he'd come on strong late. Now, the 4th round for me was a much closer round. I actually felt that Usyk seemed to start pretty well. Bellew finished well. It was a close round, but again, I'd probably edge it to Bellew. And not a lot of people not going with that. I mean, I did pick Usyk to win by knockout on the prediction league. As you went with Bellew points, and the listeners went Bellew knockout. So it's not like, I mean, I wanted Bellew to win, but it's not like I was trying to make a case for him. I actually gave him the first 4. Now, in the 5th round, Bellew was just outboxing Usyk, and Usyk could not establish his jab. And I know that it all appeared to be part of a game plan, and everyone wants to jump on this bandwagon of, like hating Bellew and stuff like that, and I'm not really a fan of that. But people talk about it was like a master game plan tactically from Usyk. Well, maybe it's easy to say that, but after 5 rounds he still hadn't established his jab, and I've never ever seen that from Usyk. Bellew with his head movement was showing us so much to his game that a lot of people didn't believe he had in him, including myself. And Usyk just wasn't able to to do much. I mean, Usyk was doing pretty well to keep Bellew or to pin Bellew on the ropes and in the corner at times in the round here in this fifth round. But when he did it, I mean, he wasn't punishing Bellew. He wasn't. He wasn't piling any pressure on him. He was keeping him in the corner, getting him on the ropes, but he wasn't actually doing anything when he was there. It was like he was being too respectful. But one thing that I do realise after the fight is where he was doing that, he was putting Bellew on the back foot. He was making Bellew fight at times. He was making Bellew move constantly, backwards as well. And he basically put pressure on Bellew without really doing much. Do you know what I'm saying? So he made Bellew kind of overexert himself. And it was very smart from Usyk because he's a very, very clever boxer. No getting away from that. His boxing IQ second to none. Now, in the sixth round, I felt it was a close round. I actually felt Bellew nicked it, but the commentators said that Usyk nicked it. And they also mentioned a shot that on the TV cameras, we didn't see that from at home. We didn't see that. But they said that Bellew got shook to his boots at the end of that sixth round when I actually thought Bellew landed a good punch on Usyk. So, not quite sure what happened there. Again, I'm not really scoring this round by round so accurately. I've written here a few close rounds. And in the seventh round, obviously, that was where Usyk won that round clearly. I mean, Bellew had a nice little flurry in the last 3 seconds, but Bellew's output had dropped massively, and he seemed like he was really blowing at that point. Now, in the eighth round, Bellew just clearly ran out of steam, and then he got caught with some big hurtful looking shots, and Usyk actually hit Bellew with a 1-2 combination that hit Bellew like really clean, and Bellew didn't actually try to block the shot. I mean, they just landed like someone who's completely not defending themselves. He hit him with this 1-2. I think he was perhaps momentarily stunned because Usyk kind of hesitated, then went, hang on, that 1-2 just worked, and then he threw another 1-2, the exact same 1-2, and this time there was a lot of power behind the backhand, and the left hand knocked Bellew's head through the bottom rope, and obviously the referee waved it off, and rightly so. Now, Bellew was gutted, and it was upsetting because Bellew really has pulled on my heartstrings quite a few times in the recent years, and I've become a Bellew fan, and we now know how relentless Usyk is. I mean, Usyk was starting to not miss Bellew with his shots. Bellew's head movement had stopped. He was too easy to hit. And you cannot be that. You simply cannot be that against a man like Usyk. What a finish. It was a shame for Bellew, who, in my opinion, was certainly up on the cards. I think 2 of the judges out of 3 agreed, and the other judge that didn't agree was Russian, or from the Ukraine, if I'm not mistaken. He had it a draw. He actually didn't have Usyk in front, which many people think he did. So yeah, no one in a million years would have thought that Bellew would be up on the cards after 7 rounds. I mean, I certainly didn't. But yeah, I mean, it's a great time for him to retire. As obviously Bellew's been in quite a few good fights now. I think some people run away with it and say that he's one of the greatest British boxers of all time. I think that's a bit of a stretch. I'm not quite sure that he's the best fighter to ever come out of Liverpool, but one fighter that certainly gave it his all, and a fighter that in many ways overachieved. And, time and time again, he was able to pull off some epic wins when he was the major underdog. He's been in a film, and to be honest, if they made a film about his real life, I'd be well up for watching that. I just want to wish him all the very best in his retirement. And like I say, what a way to go out, being extremely competitive with one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in world boxing as we speak.
Big, huge credit to Usyk for winning the fight. My heart goes out to Bellew. Obviously, unfortunately, he lost in that way. But I mean, what a career Bellew's had! What a career from losing to the Cleverly fight, getting knocked out by Adonis Stevenson in Canada, coming back, beating Cleverly in a pay-per-view fight, which I think was the most boringest fight I've seen. Achieving his dream, having a fight at Goodison Park. Beating Makabu, went as an underdog and still won that fight. Then knocked out BJ Flores, went as an underdog against the 2 David Haye fights, and he still knocked David Haye out. So he's had a brilliant career. I mean, he started in the Creed film. So Bellew's had a great career, but I mean, it's sad how his last fight went. But I mean, huge credit to Usyk, huge credit to Bellew. What a fight it was. But I'll give Bellew, I'll tell you what, Bellew, one thing I can say for a fact that he's got balls, and I mean balls. Usyk, I'm going to watch our fight after Gassiev, and he said in the interview, they're like, who do you want? He goes, Bellew next. And Bellew, obviously, he's a fighter. He said, "I'm a fighter. I'll fight anyone," and he did not duck anyone. Bellew's had a great career, and I mean, it's sad that he's retired from boxing. But now on to Usyk. I mean, who does he fight? I mean, Usyk. We know that he's all going to move up to heavyweight. We know he's going to fight Anthony Joshua in the future. The fight that I want to see Usyk fight as his first step-up fight will be a Chisora or Dillian White, because I think Usyk will give him trouble, and I think Usyk's a natural heavy. Usyk, when he was an amateur, fought at super heavyweight and he beat the likes of Joy Joyce. So I think he'll be a good competitor at heavyweight.
I have to agree, and I really like him against the winner of Chisora and White, even though I think the winner of that fight probably gets the Joshua fight, so why risk it against Usyk for less money? But I would love to see him in with the winner of that fight. I really like that fight. And a lot of people even saying that imagine Usyk against Big Baby Miller. That's a big possibility. But yeah, like I say, final kind of words on this bill here. Tony Bellew, we will miss you from boxing. I think a lot of people really get on his back, and you know, they wanted to see him get knocked out and all this stuff, and I think it's a little bit silly, really. I mean, whether you like him or not, he's been, like you said, as a good ambassador for British boxing, a man with a huge set of balls, and he has fought against some real tough opposition, and to be honest, like I say, he's upset the odds time and time again. And as he calls himself, he's just a fat kid from Liverpool, a fat scouser, I think he calls himself, and he's achieved some wonderful things. He's set for life. I think he's going to be a fighter that we look back on in years to come, and we kind of realise that we didn't appreciate enough, because there's not many people out there like him. But yeah, he will be missed in my opinion. But moving over now to the Miami-Dade County Fair and Expo in Miami, Florida, USA. Just before we get onto that, Bill, actually, let me just let everyone know the predictions last week. Like I say, we all went with Burns to win on points. He got the knockout, so no one gained a point there. And then the Bellew fight, I went with Usyk by knockout, so I gained a point there. I'm now 2 points up in the lead. I cannot believe it. I have to pinch myself sometimes. And of course, as you went with Bellew on points, the listeners went with Bellew by knockout. So no points for you guys this week. And like I say, getting back to that bill that I mentioned there in Florida, Juan Manuel Lopez picked up win number 36. He's got 6 losses. It was a unanimous decision over 10 rounds against Christian Mino, who's now 19-3. Mino was actually down twice in the 3rd round, and once in the 4th round, and once in the 6th round. So he did well to survive the distance, really, against Juan Manuel Lopez. I think Christian Mino was very much overmatched, even though he was a big puncher himself. I think he had 17 knockouts in 19 wins, something like that. But topping the bill, Yuriorkis Gamboa, 28-2 in a must-win fight, which it seems like every fight is for him. He took on Miguel Beltran Jr., 33-6, now 33-7. Beltran was actually down in the very first round, but he got back up and he ended up losing unanimously over 10 rounds. So another win there for Gamboa. His record now 29-2. Moving out now to the World Boxing Super Series card in Chicago, Illinois, USA. Let's discuss this here. A couple fights to mention, really. We saw Artur Mann move to 15-0, a unanimous decision over 10 rounds against Alexei Zubov, who's now 17-2. Also, Maris Bradis picked up win number 25. He's got that one loss to Usyk. He also picked up a belt here, the vacant WBC Diamond Cruiserweight title. They seem to keep putting the Diamond belt on the line in these World Boxing Super Series tournaments for God knows what reason. But in the other corner, Noel Gavor, 23-1, now 23-2. I didn't see the fight, shamefully, but I've been told it was a very close fight. I think Bradis, in his last couple fights, hasn't really looked too good. On the card also for the interim WBO World Cruiserweight title, former full WBO World Champion Krzysztof Glowacki, 30-1, that one loss to Usyk. It's a bit of a pattern. He took on Maxim Vlasov, who now has a record of 42-3, a unanimous decision over 12 rounds there for Glowacki. That's what I expected would happen. But that's it for the reviewing. We've gone through everything as quick as possible there. I hope that you've enjoyed that. And just before we wrap up part 1, the last thing to do is to welcome guest number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the two-weight, 4-time world champion and, of course, double Olympic gold medalist. It is Miss Claressa Shields. Claressa, welcome back on the show.
Woo! Hey, Clarissa, what's going on? Clarissa here.
Does anyone give better introductions than me?
It's a couple that I've been pretty impressed with, but, I just try to keep it all, mutual.
How are things, by the way, Clarissa, at the moment? Everything good, yeah?
everything's good. I think we're 4 days out from the fight, or 5. I'm excited. The last couple days of training, thank God this has been a long camp. I'm just ready to fight already.
So we last spoke back in July. At that time, you'd just beaten Hannah Gabriels. Obviously, you were looking ahead at that point to take on your rival, Christina Hammer. That fight was supposed to take place. It was signed, it was sealed, but it wasn't delivered. Hammer pulled out of the fight. What actually happened there, Claressa, if you can say?
Well, I've been told not to say what her medical condition was, but or is, but they did tell me, so I'll be respectful and not say what it was. But it was some medical condition, and I guess it don't let her train or does something to her insides and her stomach or whatever. So she didn't want to do the fight, and she thought it would be something that would take maybe 2 or 3 weeks longer. So they wanted to push the fight back to sometime in December. And once the doctors looked at her, which the German doctors looked at her, we sent some doctors from the U.S. to look at her, and I guess it was true what she was saying. So yeah, I guess she couldn't. Well, she was saying she couldn't practice or train or anything for months, but she's back in the gym training and everything already. So hopefully this keeps us on the same path, and we'll be fighting the first quarter of next year.
Yeah, fingers crossed, and obviously I wish her a speedy recovery. I was going to ask if that is a fight that you still want in the future. You've kind of answered that there. Now, the lady that you made your debut against, Franchon Cruz Dezern, obviously you beat her, you shut her out on points, but she's gone on now to become a WBC world champion herself. It makes your win look a little bit special, or a little bit more special, and I'm sure that you're pleased for her to achieve that.
Oh man, I'm so happy for her. We've been rivals for years, but as we've been rivals, we've also been friends, And I root for her against anybody she gets in the ring with, So I was happy she was able to become a world champion, and and now she represents the super middleweight division. So I'm happy for her.
And you were obviously disappointed with the Hammer fight falling through, but thankfully you are still fighting on a big show. You're actually fighting on a Matchroom sports show here, a card promoted by Eddie Hearn. Could this be a long-term partnership, perhaps?
Well, this is just a one-fight deal right now. Nobody knows what the future holds. I know for sure that the fight with me and Christina Hammer is going to be on Showtime. But it's, who knows about the future, but I know, they've been very polite so far. It's been great working with them. They made a beautiful promo video for the fight, to promote the fight, and nothing but professionalism. So, it's been great working with them, and I'm happy to be having my DAZN debut.
And you will be taking on Britain's very own Hannah Rankin. What do you know about Hannah? Obviously, she's a tough lady, and in her last fight, she came up short against world champion Alicia Napoleon on points, but she's a lot better than her record suggests. Certainly not a fighter to overlook.
No, I don't overlook nobody. I think that it's levels to the game, and I feel like with that fight she had against Alicia Napoleon, she should have took a step back and reevaluated everything, and maybe took some better fights and learned more, but, she's, so brave and so tough, and she wants to fight the best fighters, which I have nothing but respect for. So, I look forward to fighting her. I'm not overlooking her. I don't think, I feel like she's underestimating me because of my last fight. Even though I won, she's like, oh, but you got knocked down. And I'm like, but I didn't lose. And to her, the knockdown is what matters to her for some reason. And it's like, you acting like I got knocked down and got stopped. I got knocked down, which was a fast knockdown. I got right back up and won every round from that point on. So it's kind of weird to me how she keeps saying she never got knocked down, she never got dropped. She never fought against the opposition that I had to fight against, which is, two different ends of the spectrum. And you can go find that out on Boxhard. So I think that she's underestimating me and think that I'm just going to go in there and it's going to be a gun war. But it's like, I am a 4-time world champion in 2 divisions. I'm not going to go out there and stand in front of you and just brawl with you. I'm going to use my jab, I'm going to use my skills, I'm going to break you down, and hopefully I'm going to knock her out.
Wow, that really would be something, because obviously her 2 losses, she hasn't been stopped. And it's funny that you mentioned there that she's kind of talking a lot about this knockdown when, I mean, I'm not being disrespectful to her, but she's only got one knockout in her 7 fights, so it's not like she's a big banger. I can't see her, troubling you. It wouldn't.
I have
nothing on
watched
her
the
record
fight.
would suggest. Yeah.
I watched the fight with her and Alicia Napoleon. I was there live. And what I can say is both girls were poorly in bad shape. I mean, from the 5th round to the 10th, Hannah Rankin just basically just chased her and tried to lay on her on the ropes, and she wasn't punching when she was on the ropes. And Alicia Napoleon was in full control of the fight. Even when she was on the ropes, she would circle around her. And, it just shows, like, it's a lot. It takes a lot to be a world champion. Everybody wants to be a world champion. Everybody. And any boxer. But it's like it takes steps. It takes steps to get there. And I feel like it's just kind of disrespectful that she feel like she can skip all the steps. Like I'm a 2-time Olympic champion. So I didn't skip the steps. I was prepared for them. I knew this was going to be my career fighting the top best girls because I was prepared for it. And I've been showing that. But, her performance against Alicia Napoleon was very poor. And I just feel like, she should, take some different challenges with some girls who are not, maybe some girls who are number 2s and number 3, but she just want to fight everybody who's number 1. And I just hate to hear everybody keep saying, oh, she's tough. Women's boxing is past that. We are past being tough. Everybody's tough. The girls that Katie Taylor fight are tough. Cindy Serrano, tough. And everybody can take a shot. The people who are the great boxers, the ones fighting on TV, we are the ones who are tough, skilled, have an IQ, and can box and brawl. We can mix it up. So, just her coming to the table bringing this, oh, I'm going to brawl her, and I'm going to fight her, and I'm going to bring my Scottish heart, like, all right, go ahead. All the respect to her, but I just hope she knows it's a different game. It's a different level of intensity. And her match with Alicia Napoleon, intensity, no way. I didn't even sense it. When I get tired, I still put my chin on the line. I still try to get the job done. She lays there, try to lay on you, try to smother you. She thinks she's a big girl. But she can underestimate my punching power and everything. Just know, come November 17th, it's going to be a hard hitter in there with her, and I'm not going to let her not even win a round. I'm going to break her down as best as I can and try to get the knockout.
I really am looking forward to that fight. Now, has there been a little bit of, I don't know, I want to say, has she got under your skin in any way? Because, with you and Hammer, there, it was building up nicely. There was animosity there, professional animosity though. But it seems like Hannah may have said something or whatever, but you really seem like there's a little bit of beef there and you really want to, beat her up badly. What caused that?
I feel like that with everybody, I think. I think I have that same attitude with everybody. I just feel like this camp has been very long, and I've been a little irritated during some of the camp because I didn't know if I would fight until next year. I was praying that I would get the fight before next year, and my prayers got answered. But it's just like I want her to beat everybody, especially somebody who thinks that they can beat me. And she was talking trash before she lost. She's talking trash now after she lost, and she keeps saying, she got the secret to beat me and everything. And I'm just excited to see what she brings to the table. Because this is just one of those fights where when you come off a win that I came off of, where I had to dig a little bit and really show my heart and my grit and show people that I'm not just just a person who just outpoint people. Like I really had to dig and I got knocked down, had to overcome some adversity. I think that when you have to do that, people don't realize how much hunger it gives you. How much motivation it gives you for the next fight. Like it really lit a fire in me to really just dominate even more now. To just show these girls more now. Like, yeah, you can. They should be more terrified. I got knocked down and got right back up. So now they can really be terrified because they could probably think that they can do the same thing, but the fight won't be over. I'm going to bring it more. So. I'm just grateful that I'm fighting and that, but she hasn't said nothing to get under my skin. She's been talking shit when I was getting ready to fight against Hammer. She's like, I'm Team Hammer because I sparred with Hammer. And now, of course, she's like, she's going to beat me because Christina Hammer's sparring partner. And it's like, look, I'm going to give her a good message to send back to Christina Hammer to let Christina Hammer know you in the world get in trouble. And even after the fight, I want to ask her, who hit harder, me or Christina Hammer, since she knows so damn much.
Now, this will be your second fight at middleweight. Now, since moving down from super middleweight, people thought it may be a challenge for you. How are you finding it? Is it easy to make the weight, or is it a challenge?
No, it's easier this time around. Before I fought against Hannah Gabriel, I was coming down from 183 pounds, 6 weeks out from the fight. I've never been that big before, but with the long layoff, you know, you just kind of chill, you just eat, and, you know, have a good time. So, you know, it was different, and I didn't realize I was that big, you know, because I still looked the same. That was what's shocking to me. You know, I still looked like I weighed about 168, but once I hit the scale, it said 183. I said, oh, shit. So, you know, I had to really, like, tighten up my diet, and even though my diet, I still was, like, having, like, a weird eating schedule. And, you know, it was like I didn't really have any help, and I haven't been under 165 pounds since the Olympics, and that's 2016. So getting down to 160, when I got to 163, it was a challenge to make 160 the first fight. And I had to do, like, a lot of stupid things to make the weight. So I'm glad that this time happily on 165 right now, all water weight, so the weight is going to come off easy. I'm not going to do those bad things I had to do my last fight. It's not a day in camp that I've been hungry. I've been eating 3-4 times a day, drinking over a gallon of water. I think when you see the weigh-in pictures, you're going to be able to tell the difference in how I've been eating and how I've been training, because my body looks completely different from the last fight. You know, they're going to want to drug test. They're going to want to drug test me more now because of how cut up I am. Because I've been taking my diet, taking my training, taking everything like 100% serious. Like this camp, I added a nutritionist to help with my diet, and I added a strength conditioning coach to help with my conditioning, which my conditioning has always been good. But just losing weight and also with conditioning, it has to be a little different. So this has been a great camp. Everything is going great, and I feel good. And I don't have any excuses come November 17th. Nope.
Very bad news for Hannah Rankin. That's actually frightening me, Claressa, and I'm not even getting in the ring with you hearing you say that. Now, this fight's not only for your IBF and WBA world titles, but also the vacant WBC world title will be up for grabs. You've already got one WBC title, but I'm sure there's space in the trophy cabinet for another.
Oh, yeah, it's plenty of space. And, you know, I just find it so crazy that I have all the belts except for the WBO. Like, I have a WBC, I have the IBF, I have a WBA at all these different weight classes, but I do not have a WBO. So, you know, I'm just getting closer to being the next undisputed female. And, you know, I'll be happy to have three belts at middleweight. And if, you know, hopefully Hammer comes and wants to get her belt, and, you know, wants to fight for her belt next year so I can have the WBO. So I'm excited about that because now, like, I feel like the tables have turned just a little bit because at first everybody was like, oh, you know, she has 2 belts, you have 2 belts, and you guys are kind of even and blah, blah, blah. But now that I'll have 3, it'll kind of be like people will look at me like I'm Anthony Joshua, and they'll look at her like she's Deontay Wilder because Deontay Wilder only has 1 belt.
Yeah, I see what you mean by that. Now, it's not every day that someone as big as 50 Cent posts a video of you on his Instagram page in order to inspire others. What did you make of that? That was extreme recognition right there.
It came out of nowhere. Like, first of all, I'm trying to remember who page did I get my video off of because it's in my phone, but I saw the video and it just kind of made me have like a super flashback, and I posted it to my page. And I got so much feedback and everything from it. And then the next morning I get up and everybody's adding me. I'm thinking they're adding me in my own post. But then I end up clicking on it and it was 50 Cent post. And I was like, what the heck? So I'm like, yo, it was so special to me because I've met 50 Cent in person before. I've never been able to get a picture with him because he'd be on the go. And I like to sit down and actually watch the fight. But as soon as the fight is over, he dips out. So I like to sit there and watch the after interviews and everything. And I've never been able to get a picture with him, but he knows who I am. So it was great to see him share that video of me, and so many people shared it and liked it. And, I mean, over 1 million views. You know, I was just so excited. And then I've got my DAZN debut coming up. So that even adds more eyes to my fight, which, even gives me more motivation just to go out there and show out, show them what girls are made of.
Excellent, excellent. Now, it's a tradition every time that you come on the podcast, Claressa, you sing to us. Now, last time on the show, you didn't really fancy singing, and I jokingly said that next time we'll have to sing a duet. So, are we ready to do this, Claressa?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right, here we go. Now, obviously, I synced you the song beforehand, and I'm going to take it away here. I need a couple seconds just to get my breathing going. My heart rate needs to go down. I'm not quite sure I'll be able to maintain that. But here we go.
All right.
Ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby.
If you need me, call me, no matter where you are, no matter how far.
Don't worry, baby.
Just call my name, I'll be there in a hurry. You don't have to worry, 'cause baby, ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough. Ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you,
baby. Wow, unbelievable.
Boom.
There you go, people. That is an exclusive. It doesn't come much better than that. How was my awful voice there, Claressa?
It wasn't bad though. I mean, you didn't sound terrible. It's great. It didn't sound bad at all.
I've got a pretty good mic. I think that's probably why. I think if my mic wasn't so good, it'd be awful. But wow, I mean, I feel like I'm on top of the world now. I really feel like I've kind of come out my comfort zone and I'm unstoppable. any chance of? Do you reckon there's any chance of me getting on the undercard on the 17th as well?
Oh, you funny. You know what? You should go and try karaoke though. That's how I got used to singing a little bit. But singing in front of all those people, they love when I sing Tina Turner, Proud Mary, or Tina Turner, What's Love Got to Do with It. Those are my jams.
Damn. Well, there you go. That was a jam that wasn't necessarily mine or yours, but I think we smashed it. But on a more serious note, Claressa, do you have any closing words at all for our listeners listening to this interview just before we let you go?
Just everybody listening, share this when you guys hear it. Download the Zone. Watch me fight next Saturday, November 17th. And, pray for me and, wish me luck. Wish me luck. So, and I look forward to seeing everybody comment after the fight. Follow me on social media at Claressa Shields, Claressa Shields, SHIELDS. I'm the one with the check mark. And, all is good.
Excellent. Claressa, thank you once again for your time. Best of luck for the 17th. And next time we speak, I'm sure that I'll be speaking to the new 5-time champion of the world.
Absolutely.
Okay, now it's time for part 2 on this week's show. This part, of course, the news part. There's not too much, if I'm not mistaken, Ayaz, but what do you have for us?
One news, Gilberto Ramirez will face Jesse Hart in a rematch on the 14th of December.
Yeah, that one to take place in Texas. The first fight was a very good fight where I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jesse Hart got dropped and that cost him the fight, or that cost him it being very close, something like that. I know that we had Jesse Hart on the show in the build-up to that fight, so all the very best to him. Is that it for the news, Ayaz, yeah?
Yeah, that's it for the news.
Okay, thank you very much. Ayaz, moving out now to Germany, this one happening at the EWS Arena. This is actually a very interesting fight. We've got Firat Arslan, a man with a record of 44-8 with 2 draws. He's about 48 years of age, or 47. He puts his WBO Intercontinental Cruiserweight title on the line against Sefer Seferi, the man that we saw last time out take on Tyson Fury. So Seferi's only losses have been to, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Manuel Char and then to Fury. So he takes on Firat Arslan. So we're going to see here how good he truly is. If he loses this fight, then forget about it. Seferi is really no good. But if he wins this fight, then he's probably a little bit better than people thought when he took on Fury. But that's a 12-rounder there, like I say, for the WBO Intercontinental Cruiserweight strap. Moving out now to Mexico at the Plaza de Toros Calafia. That was very nice, if I may say so. We have Diego De La Hoya, 21-0. He puts his NABF Super Bantamweight title on the line. He takes on Adixon Perez, who has a record of 17-2. That's a 10-rounder there. Also, the WBO, NABO Super Bantamweight titles on the line as well. Moving out now to a place in Poland we have one or two fights to mention. We've got Adam Bałski, a very good prospect. His record 12-0. He fights for the vacant Republic of Poland cruiserweight title against undefeated Nikodem Juszewski, who's 16-0 with one draw. But the main fight to mention here, actually, is a guy called Damian Jonak, who has a record of 41-0 with one draw. He's got one of the most padded records I've ever seen in history. And he takes on our very own Andrew Robinson, who's quite a tough guy domestically. 21-4 with one draw, former opponent of Frank Buglioni. That's an 8-rounder there. I'm really hoping that Robinson can get the win and really expose this guy, who somehow has held on to his O. Like I say, 41-0 with one draw. He hasn't fought anybody. Also, we should mention Robert Parzuzewski, who's 21-1. He's in an 8-rounder against Darius Sek. That was the first southpaw that Anthony Yard fought. I think it was earlier on this year. He gets in the ring. I think Sek has now been training or sparring with Buglioni to get him ready for his southpaw that he's taking on next weekend in Monaco. So all the very best to Darius Sek. That's an 8-rounder there. Sek's record 28-4 with 3 draws. Moving out now to the Bilbao Exhibition Centre in País Vasco in Spain. We have, let's waste no time here, Kerman Leharaga, 26-0. He's the EBU European welterweight champion. Obviously, he knocked out Bradley Skeet earlier this year. He takes on our very own Frankie Gavin, a friend of the show. Frankie Gavin, obviously, a man that controversially beat Bradley Skeet once upon a time. So both men have beaten Bradley Skeet. One, obviously, being Leharaga, doing it in much better fashion. But Frankie Gavin, it would seem like he's really, really at the end of his career now. But if he wins this, then all of a sudden, his name's right back in the scene. What are we going with here for the predictions, Ayaz? I have to go with Leharaga by knockout, and the listeners, I think, are also saying the same. But we'd love, obviously, to see Frankie pull it off in Spain.
I'm also going to go with Leharaga knockout.
Okay. All the very best to Frankie Gavin. I just think he's too small for this guy. Moving out now to the Brentwood Centre in Essex, United Kingdom. Just one fight really to mention over here. It's an MTK show. We will see Harley Ben in his 5th fight. He's in a 4-rounder against a guy called Theodore Boyagiev, who has a record of 1-14 with 2 draws, and also an honourable shout out, an honourable mention to Mikey Saki, 6-2, the guy that, like I say, the guy that beat C.R. Osgood and took his O and knocked him out in the final round of a fight that he wasn't winning a second of, when his brother was sat there ringside saying, come on Mikey, it is him again. He takes on Ilian Markov, who's got a record of 3-4 with 2 draws. All the best to Mikey Saki. I saw him at the Peacock Gym a few weeks ago now. Moving out now to Kansas at the Kansas Star Arena in, obviously, the United States of America. Let's start here with Anthony Sims Jr., 16-0. He's in an 8-rounder. His opponent yet to be announced. And we've also got fighting on this bill our first guest, Claressa Shields, who was on the show earlier. Her record 6-0. She's in a 10-2-minute round contest against Hannah Rankin from Scotland. Her record 5-2. Like I say, this one for the IBF and WBA World Female Middleweight titles. They belong to Claressa Shields. And also the vacant WBC World Female Middleweight titles on the line as well. Claressa tells me that there is space in her trophy cabinet for that added strap. Also on the bill we have Brandon Rios, 34-4 with 1 draw. He takes on Ramon Alvarez, the brother of Canelo. His record 27-6 with 3 draws, a tough Mexican. That's a 10-round contest there. Just to quickly reiterate there and go back for a second, the listeners are going with Claressa Shields to win that fight against Hannah Rankin by knockout. How do you see that one playing out, Ayaz? Hannah Rankin and Claressa Shields. Knockout or points for Claressa? I think we can't.
I'm going to go with Claressa Shields by knockout.
Claressa Shields knockout. I am going to agree, actually. Also on the bill, like I say there, Brandon Rios against Ramon Alvarez, the brother of Canelo, Ayaz. The listeners have gone Rios on points. I'm going to go Rios by knockout. How do you see it?
Rios on points.
Okay. Moving up the bill once again, we've got Gabriel Rosado, the tough man from Philadelphia, 24-11. He takes on Luis Arias, 18-1. Obviously, Arias coming off that loss to Daniel Jacobs just over a year ago now. He's been out the ring the whole time. It's a 10-round contest. A lot of trash talking in the build-up. We had Luis Arias on the show last week, of course. How do you see this one playing out, Ayaz?
I'm going to go Arias on points.
Arias on points. So have I. and so have the listeners. Yeah, so we're all in agreement there. And the top of the bill here, Jarrell Big Baby Miller, 22-0 with one draw. He's in a 12-round contest against the undefeated Romanian heavyweight Bogdan Dinu, who's got a record of 18-0. Now, it's a 12-round contest, like I say. Bogdan Dinu, in his amateur career, I think he was quite a decent amateur. And then he got caught shoplifting, and they banned him for life from amateur boxing. So he had no other option but to turn pro. I think he's been a pro about 10 years. He's only had 18 fights, but he hasn't put a foot wrong. He's in the deep end here, like I say, in the United States of America against Big Baby Miller, a humongous heavyweight. How do you see that one playing out, Ayaz? For me, it's got to be Big Baby by knockout.
Yep, I'm gonna go with Big Baby Miller by knockout as well.
And so have the listeners, so we're in agreement with a few things here. And finally, the last bill to mention, it's actually happening on Monday. So obviously past the weekend, Monday the 19th of November. It's actually happening at the Hilton Hotel in Mayfair, London. Now, this is an event that Frank Warren puts on yearly, and it's to raise money for a charity called Nordhoff Robbins. And he puts on a show mostly at the Hilton Hotel, literally just to raise funds for this charity. So it's a brilliant gesture from Frank Warren that he's done time and time again. And he usually puts on quite a decent card. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think tickets start at £200. But there are a couple fights to mention on the bill. Now, the good fight, the juicy fight for me is Boy Jones Jr., 18-1 with one draw. He takes on Craig Evans, who's 18-2 with two draws. I think that's a real good fight there. That one is for the vacant WBO European lightweight title. Also on the bill, we will see Danny Wright, who's 10-0 undefeated. He's in a 6-rounder. His opponent yet to be announced. And also the Braveheart himself, Willie Hutchinson, a man that's being co-promoted by Richard Schaefer and David Hayes, Ringstar, or Haymaker Ringstar, I should say, promotions. And also Frank Warren. So Willie Hutchinson obviously also being trained by Dominic Ingle, who isn't these days. His record is 5-0. He's in a 6-rounder. His opponent yet to be announced. He's a friend of the show, so all the very best to Willie. But that's really it for the preview part of the show. Like I say, we've brought you the first guest, we brought you the review, and now the preview. We did the news, even though there wasn't too much to mention. And now, just before we wrap up part 2 and ultimately end the show, the last thing to do is to welcome our second and final guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a man that sits right amongst the top heavyweight prospects in world boxing. It is, of course, Mr. Travis Kauffman. Travis, welcome back on the show.
It's always a pleasure to be on the show.
It's always a pleasure having you on, and I truly mean that. So, Travis, we last spoke quite a while ago now. It was just before the Amir Mansour fight. Now, that was a fight that kind of shocked me, really. I mean, you ended up losing a majority decision. It's not the first time that controversy's been woven into your fights, whether that's, unfortunate or not unfortunate. Did you feel that you did enough in that fight to get the verdict?
Yes, I thought I did enough, but I also feel that I could have done more in that fight. Was I mad at the decision? I was, but not as mad as I was with the Chris Arreola fight. The Chris Arreola fight, I definitely got robbed. I don't think the Mansour fight, I got robbed. I do believe I won the fight, but it wasn't like a robbery. You understand? I think Mansour outsmarted me that night. I asked one of the judges after the fight, I said, how did you give him the one judge had a 117, 111, which was completely ridiculous. I said, how did you score that? He goes, well, Mary Mansour was the aggressor. I was like, what effing fight were you watching? Because I was the aggressor the entire night. So, I mean, all the judges that night were from New Jersey, and that's originally where Mary Mansour is from. I'm not saying that they were being biased, but I think that could have helped play a part. But I thought it was a close enough fight. I thought I had the fight by one round, maybe two at the most. But like I said, depending on what the judges are seeing, there's a lot of punches that I was rolling from Mansour's punches, and maybe they thought they were landing clean, and they really weren't. When I watched the fight over and over again, I was rolling from a lot of punches. And like I said, I mean, it is what it is. I'm in a fight business, and I'm big on we can't always learn from winning all the time. Sometimes we have to learn from our mistakes and our failures. And in that fight, I learned that I should have boxed instead of being the aggressor. I just thought Amir Mansour was going to come out and be aggressive, and he's an older guy. Let me try to shock him. And once the aggression the aggression worked for the first 5 rounds. I got a little tired. And then the 6th and 7th round, I took off a little bit, but I just kept being aggressive, and I should have went to boxing. I'm a better boxer than I am an aggressive fighter. I became an aggressive fighter over the years with the knee surgeries and stuff. But I mean, it is what it is. I don't sit there and I don't dwell on the past. I move forward and I learn from my mistakes.
And, you know, the one fight that you've had since then was against Scott Alexander. Now, I know that you're a much better fighter than Scott Alexander, but obviously you both touched down in the first round and you ended up winning on points in what was a super close fight. And, you know, that time you did get the win, you know, via majority decision. But a lot of people thought... Let me just finish, Travis. A lot of people thought that you were quite lucky to get that victory, but why was it such a close fight? Because, like I say, you're a lot better than that, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I'm way better than that. If you look at that fight compared to any of my other fights, you can look at me and tell I didn't take that fight serious. I didn't even want to fight. I was supposed to fight Antonio Tarver, and I was promised X amount of dollars. Then when Antonio Tarver fell through, then here it is. I'm only getting paid like a small, way huge cut on my purse. I'm like, I don't even want to fucking fight. Not only that, like the training, my training wasn't that great for the fight. I just wasn't there mentally. There was a lot of things going on in my life at that time. My cousin had just died. He just got murdered a couple months before that. You know, I'm a single father. I didn't really get the chance to leave home for training camp. I stayed at home for training camp, and there's a lot of distractions. And I take nothing away from Scott Alexander, but I knew nothing about him. People talk about, oh, he took the fight on a 10-day notice. Well, so did I. I didn't know who the hell he was. I was getting ready for a slow, older southpaw, and 10 days before the fight, they put this super fast orthodox fighter in. I take nothing from Scott Alexander. He's super fast. He's the first person to legitimately drop me. I mean, a real drop. When I fought Tony Brown, I got dropped. That was more fatigue, exhaustion. Not a real drop. I wasn't really hurt the way I was. My legs really gave out on me against Alexander. I don't think he's a big puncher. I just, you know, one thing about boxing is if you don't treat it right, it'll embarrass you come fight night. And that night I got a little embarrassed because I got dropped by a guy who has no name. And I'm way better than that. Mansour's a way bigger puncher than him. Chris Harrell is way bigger puncher than both of them. And they didn't even, Mansour or Ariel couldn't even bug me. Here's this guy Scott Alexander who ain't that much of a puncher, but he's super fast. And if you look at when I dropped him, I was like, oh, it's over. I'm gonna go in there and kill him. I'm gonna finish him off real quick. I don't want to go to fucking. Excuse my language. I don't want to go to 10 rounds. And I'm gonna go out there and kill him. And I was loading up and got caught with a clean hook and dropped me. And thank God because of the experience, I took my time to get up. I believe I won the fight. I was the aggressor. There was a time in the fight in like the 5th, 6th, 7th, or 6th, 7th, 8th. What's his name did nothing. He just ran, and maybe popped a jab every now and again. I don't see how. It was a close fight without a doubt, but I thought I won the fight by 2 rounds. But I am a much better fighter than that. I wasn't taking it serious. I really didn't care. I was frustrated with the money situation. Like I said, this is the only way I provide for my kids. I'm a single father of 3 kids, and this is the only way I provide. I don't have any other source of income coming in. So when I found out that they're making a huge cut on my purse because I wasn't fighting Antonio Tarver, I was like, this is ridiculous. But whatever, let's fight. I need to go pay for these kids. I need to go get some money so I can pay these bills, and I don't lose my house. So.
But no, not too embarrassing. I mean, like I say, you got up, you took your time with the count, you got up and ended up winning. So I think that's quite a good thing. Obviously, you'd have learned a lot from that. Now, you had a T-shirt on in the ring that read, "I'm fat because I love pizza and I'm ped free," which I found really funny. But yeah,
well, they keep one day. I did that for a reason. I was supposed to fight Antonio Tarver, and as we all know, he tested multiple times for PEDs. And people look at me and they say, oh, he's a fat guy. He don't train. Well, I mean, honestly, for that fight, I really didn't train much. And I trained, but not like I should. But I didn't take the fight serious. But that shirt was more throwing shots at Antonio Tarver because the guy can't stop testing positive for PEDs. Now I'm fighting another guy who keeps testing positive for PEDs. And here's my frustration with PEDs, with people that test. We both are. We put our lives on the line. We can die in that ring, and yet you need an advantage to try to kill me. And yet the boxing world, they're so against PEDs, but yet they praise these guys. I hear people say all the time, "Oh, Luis Ortiz is one of the best fighters." Still, wise, he is one of the best fighters, without a doubt. But how can you praise a man that cheated his way to the top? You have to question all his victories. And to me, I can never give someone that type of respect when you know we can die in that ring and you're trying to give yourself that advantage to possibly kill me when you need a PED to help you. Use your natural skills, your natural ability. And one thing Luis Ortiz has is a lot of natural skills. He's been around the game for a long time. So why these guys take PEDs, I don't know. Maybe because they want that advantage. Be a real fighter. I'm a fat fuck, and I'm fat, but I fight. I come to fight, and I'm coming to take your head off. Win, lose, draw, I'm coming to fight.
With all due respect to you, those two fights that I mentioned, a few moments ago, where you haven't really looked $1 million, those opponents obviously aren't Luis Ortiz, and like you say, you'll be taking him on a big show. You must know that your game needs to be raised here. How can you do that?
Well, I'm not going to give away my game plan, but when I fight, my mentality has always been, I'm going to kill you or you're going to kill me. And I think in this fight with Luis Ortiz, that's the wrong thing to do, because he's so explosive early. He's so strong, and such a great counterpuncher. So I mean, I have to. People say he's 39. People say he's 49. I don't know how old he is, but I know he's older than me. So I have to beat him with youth, and I have to just outsmart him at night. I'm not going to give away my game plan and snitch on myself, but we do have a game plan. It's not going to be the same Travis Kauffman that you guys are used to seeing, trying to come and rip your head off.
Yeah. Now, although you don't have a similar style to Deontay Wilder, did you see anything in that fight that's giving you some kind of clue as to, what to do to, even though I think, to be honest, he didn't really do much outboxing. I think Wilder was probably losing on points, but did you see anything that you can kind of add to your game plan? I'm not asking you what it is, but did you see stuff?
Yeah, Luis Ortiz's legs get tired.
Now, not only is the main event and your fight both at heavyweight, the whole card has got that heavyweight feel. Obviously, you mentioned earlier your old foe Chris Arreola seems to be on the card also. Another controversial fight that you were involved in. Do you feel that you've kind of got unfinished business with Chris, or is that really just a thing of the past, to be honest?
It's a thing of the past. I don't think. I mean, Chris has been in some wars before me. But when I fought him, I think I took everything out of him. Everything out of him. I mean, if you look at an interview with me before he fought me, he was speaking pretty clear. Interview with him before he fought Deontay Wilder, he wasn't speaking so clear anymore. I just believe I took everything out of him. It's a thing of the past. I don't live in the past. It is what it is. Because if I lived in the past, I would still be hunting Tony Grano down. And he's in my rearview mirror. Chris Arreola is in my rearview mirror. Chris Arreola is a personal friend of mine, and I wish him well. But, I mean, money talks. I mean, so if that's a fight that Al Heyman wants eventually, cool. But right now my focus is Luis Ortiz and nothing else.
Absolutely. Now, the main event, I must get your take on this one. Wilder versus Fury. Who wins and how, Travis, for you?
Fury has the ability to win. Fury can play with people's minds and get to them. Just like I said, when Fury fought Vladimir Klitschko, I picked Fury to win because Vladimir Klitschko was so used to being the big man, he didn't know what it was like to be the little guy. It could be the same thing with Wilder. The only difference is Wilder has that type of power that'll make you read your dog at bedtime story and put your daughter in the doghouse. It'll make you forget your own name. He has that type of power. And we all seen that Tyson Fury has been dropped by a guy who can't punch, Steve Cunningham. I'm personally just picking Deontay Wilder because of his power. But in all reality, I mean, may the best man win. I mean, I really don't care who wins. I think Tyson Fury winning makes more sense for him to go over to England and fight AJ financially. I think it's a bigger payday than Deontay Wilder and Joshua fighting. But I see Deontay winning. I see Deontay winning by, 8th, 7th, 8th round knockout.
Now, I remember that when Eddie Hearn tried to sign Tyson Fury, his plan was that if Tyson Fury signed with him, that he'd get Tyson Fury to fight Travis Kauffman in his first comeback fight. How aware were you of those plans, or is this the first that you've heard of them?
I wasn't aware of it. I heard of it online. Someone sent it to me. I didn't know nothing about it. I wish Eddie Hearn would call me and offer me a deal. but I'm with Al Heyman, so I'm happy where I'm at. But yeah, I mean, they wanted to fight me, and Tyson Fury didn't want to fight me. It was too tough of a test for him for his first fight back being off. I'm one of those guys. I don't have the big name, but I'm a dangerous fighter. So a guy like Tyson Fury loses to me, well, he's no longer relevant. So I don't think Tyson Fury wanted to take that chance, and I don't blame him.
Now, 3 weeks after your fight, the rematch is on. Dillian Whyte takes on Derek Chisora. If you saw the first fight, then you'll know how close it was. I'm not sure this fight can possibly be as exciting, but who do you have winning that one?
I'm picking Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte's, better boxer. I don't know. I mean, I don't really watch those guys much. I wish I watched a little bit more of those guys. But Dillian Whyte is a better boxer than Chisora. Chisora is a more, if I remember correctly, more come forward. I don't think I've seen Chisora fight one time. I believe he's more of a come forward type of fighter. And I never got to see the first fight with those two. I stepped in Dillian Whyte's place. Dillian Whyte was supposed to fight Luis Ortiz and didn't want to fight him. Nobody wants to fight Luis Ortiz. I'm one of those guys that, hey, let's fight. But out of those two, I was Dillian Whyte and Derek Chisora, may the best man win. I don't know much about both of those guys. I know they're in my division. I know they're quote-unquote top fighters. But, may the best man win. I really don't care about those two, so whatever.
And I want to ask you this. You said there that if Tyson Fury would have fought you and possibly lost to you, then where does he kind of go from there? Do you think that yourself and Luis Ortiz are in pretty similar boats in the respect that you're a high-risk, low-reward fighter, it would seem, and so is he?
No, I still he is a high risk. I mean, he has definitely a bigger fan base than I have. But every fighter, top fighters, besides Deontay Wilder, have been scared to fight him. I mean, he's called out Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte, he'll fight you, and then pulled out. Didn't want to fight him. I think it was just all a little show to put on a show, make him think that he wasn't scared of Luis Ortiz. I think Luis Ortiz is one of those guys where he has a lot more to lose than I do. Me, I'm a fighter, and I don't care who I fight. You put me in there with Luis Ortiz December 1st, you put me in there with Deontay Wilder December 2nd. I don't care. Let's fight. And that's what the boxing game is about. That's what fighting is about, to fight and fight anybody. And boxing has, over the years, has become so much of a business. I don't blame the fighters because of that. I blame the promoters and the managers, because after boxing, we have nobody. Nobody cares about us. And, you see a lot of these fighters who make so much money and they become homeless, especially in the States. I don't know how it is over in England, but especially in the States. A lot of the fighters become homeless or don't know how to finance their money. Is that the promoter or manager's job? No, it's not. It's not their fault. But we have guys like Mudrick Tiller, per se. He's homeless now, who's made managers and promoters millions and millions and millions of dollars. After you're done with boxing, screw you. There's no retirement pension. There's nothing, after boxing, where you're financially going to be okay, and we're on our own. And most fighters come from a majority of us come from a poor background, and we were never taught how to manage our money. So that's why boxers have made it a business. Floyd Mayweather, the best businessman in the boxing game. I just think that boxing has become more of a business, and people are too afraid to step up and fight each other. And I'm one of those guys, like, whatever, let's fight. That's why I signed up for. I signed up because I wanted to fight the toughest guys. Win, lose, or draw, I don't care. I just want to fight. I love fighting. I've always loved fighting. And it's just something that's in my blood. And, that's why I think I'm so excited. And every fight I've been in, every fight on TV has been, one of the candidates of Fight of the Year. Areola, candidate Fight of the Year. Mansour, candidate Fight of the Year. When I lost to Tony Grant, it was only a 4-round fight. That was candidate Fight of the Year. The fight with Scott Alexander wasn't candidate Fight of the Year, but it was a hell of a fight. It was a good fight. Even though Alexander was moving a lot and trying to box, I was the aggressor. Let's fight. So.
And finally, Travis, what is your prediction for the 1st of December? Now, obviously, you are the underdog. I'm sure you know that, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can't upset the odds like many others have done. How do you see your arm being raised on December 1st? Is it knockout? Is it points? What can you tell us?
I believe I have the ability to knock him out. I think the only way, as we know, I've been robbed a couple times in this sport. The only way I get the victory is knocking him out. If I don't knock him out, the judges won't give me the fight. He's the bigger name. They want him to fight Deontay Wilder again. Who's this guy, Travis Kauffman? Nobody knows who I am, unless you're a diehard boxing fan. So the only way I can win is by knocking him out. I could beat him all 10 rounds. They would not give me the decision. They won't. And I strongly believe that. And, Lewis Ortiz, boxing is a money. It's about money. It's a business. And the commission makes more money if Lewis Ortiz fights Deontay Wilder again compared to Travis Kauffman either having a rematch with Lewis Ortiz or Travis Kauffman fighting Deontay Wilder. So that's just the only way I can win is by knocking him out.
In the back of your mind, have you got some thoughts there thinking, do you know what, I could outbox this slick southpaw in the heavyweight division. I could outbox him. I could win the majority of the rounds, but I simply wouldn't get it? Or do you not even really, you simply wouldn't get the decision? Or do you not even really think about that? You're just simply thinking, I don't really care about that. I'm not chancing going to points. I'm just going to go in there and try and lay this guy out.
Well, I would love to go out there and knock him out. Well, we know this is boxing. We can't knock everyone out. If I go out there and beat him on points, great. One thing about boxing, though, they don't pay us for overtime. Whether I knock them out 1 round or 10 rounds, I get paid the same thing. Just raises my stocks if I can knock them out faster than Deontay Wilder did. Then I'd really be a household name. Right now I'm at the door of opportunity, and they're cracking it open for me. Now it's my job to bust open through the door and get my name really well known. And I believe the only way I can do that is if I knock him out. So, am I going out there looking for a knockout? Absolutely not. Because any baseball player that goes out there looking for a home run, they never get it. So, but I believe I have the ability, and definitely I have the power. Anybody I ever hit with my right hand, I hurt him. So, I dropped, Areola when Klitschko couldn't drop him. Klitschko's, I believe, a bigger puncher than me. Mansour, I hurt him real bad in the second round. Look what I did to Alexander. I dropped him in the first round real bad. I don't know how the hell he got up, but he did. Anybody I've ever hit with my right hand, I hurt bad. So I believe, like King Kong, if I hit him with this right hand, he will turn into Harambe.
And finally, Travis, have you got any kind of message just to our listeners just before we let you go?
No, I appreciate all the support. Just stay tuned. December 1st is definitely a huge step up for me. It's a huge opportunity, but I'm confident, and I believe I will be victorious. I take nothing away from Lewis Ortiz. But I can't give someone credit that's cheated their way to the top, and that's just my opinion. But come December 1st, may the best man win.
And like I say, you call yourself my time. I really pray that this is your time, Travis. It always is a pleasure speaking with you. I wish you nothing but the best for December 1st, and I'm sure that we'll catch up sometime after.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and this wraps up episode 161 of the Boxhard podcast. I've been your host, Joey Kauffman. Ayaz Summer has returned. He's been with me for the duration of the show. A massive thank you to our two guests on this week's show. Also, the two-time Olympic champion and undefeated two-weight four-belt world champion Claressa Shields, and the top heavyweight contender looking to finally make a name for himself on a mega undercard, Travis Kauffman. The prediction league currently stands at myself in the lead on 70 points, Ayaz and you, the listeners, are tied on 68 points. There are another 5 points up for grabs this weekend, although Ayaz and you, the listeners, have been in agreement on all 5 predictions. I think I agreed on all but one of them, so no matter what happens, I still will be in the lead next week. Go me. But there has been some news announced whilst we've been recording this show. PBC have announced another 9 shows. I'm going to announce them in chronological order here, all the main events on the bills. So it starts with January the 13th for the IBF Super Middleweight World Title. Caleb Plant will challenge Jose Uzcategui. On the 26th of January, we'll finally see the return of Keith Thurman. He takes on Josecito Lopez. Keith Thurman will defend his WBA world title. On February 16th, Leo Santa Cruz defends his WBA world title against Miguel Flores. A lot of people not too happy about that one. The week after that, we get to see Anthony Durrell take on Avni Yildirim for the vacant WBC world title, the one that was taken away from David Benavidez after he positively tested for something. I think it was cocaine actually now. But yeah, March the 9th, Sean Porter will take on Yordenis Ugas for Sean Porter's WBC world title. The week after that, we truly do get to see a real mega fight. Errol Spence defends his IBF welterweight world title against Mikey Garcia. Mikey is going up 2 weight classes here, and he's daring to be great. This is a fight that I knew was done and dusted quite a while ago, to be honest, but I've had to be quiet, and I'm so happy now that I can let loose. What a mega fight that one is. The week after that, we get to see Lamont Peterson take on Sergei Lipinets in a non-title fight, but a very good fight anyway. April the 13th, 2 former world champions clash. Caleb Truax takes on Peter Quillin, and then finally on April the 20th, Danny Garcia takes on Adrian Granados in a fight that I'm not even in the slightest bit looking forward to be honest. I think that's another fight where you can kind of call Danny Garcia a little bit of a cherry picker. But that's pretty much everything. Please, please, please do not give me any stick for that awful singing. I tried my absolute best. I really sung my heart out, and perhaps I do need to take up some singing lessons. Remember, if you do have any spare time, please, please, please leave us a review on iTunes. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in once again to the Boxhard podcast and making this the #1 boxing podcast on the net. Enjoy your weekends, people. Stay safe, and we shall see you next week.